Hey everyone, welcome to another $1,000 strap search. I've got my $1,000 in singles here and I'm about to show you what I found. But before I do, let's talk about this week's tip. This week's tip involves banks that you don't have an account with. Now, if you go to a bank and you say, give me 1,000 singles, they're going to look at you really funny. I know, I get those looks. However, what I find myself doing more often than not when I go into banks is asking for two straps of singles. I'll give them a $100 bill or $200 bills and say, can I get two straps of singles? Or I'll do just the opposite. I'll take two straps of singles to a bank and say, can I get two $100 bills? That's how I exchange my stuff. I never go to a bank with all this and say, here, give me more. I don't do that because they're just not going to take care of you if you do that. My hint this week, though, involves banks where you may not have an account. I'm not saying this works everywhere, but it's been my experience that if I go to a bank with two straps of singles and ask for two $100 bills or vice versa, that bank is going to ask for my ID and they're going to want to know if I have an account. The reason for that is because those banks require you to have an account for transactions over $100. What does that mean? That means that if I take a $100 bill to a bank that I've never been to before in my life, and I say to them, hey, can I buy a strap of singles from you? Odds are, even though I don't have an account, that bank will probably give me 100 singles. Okay, now think about that. If there are 10 banks in your town and you've only got an account at one of them, I'm sure that one bank is probably going to be very annoyed if you come looking for 1,000 singles every week. And they're also going to be quite annoyed when you try to return them, since you're getting them from there and then returning them to the same place. But if there are 10 banks in your town and you go to each bank with a $100 bill and ask for 100 singles, they're not going to blink twice. Probably. I'm not saying every bank, but I'm simply saying that $100 for a strap of singles isn't a big deal. And the same is true in the other direction. If you bring in 100 singles and say, can I get a $100 bill? They probably won't bat an eye. So that's just this week's tip. It's a way to expand where you get your notes from just by being kind to the banks and understanding that $100 limit. Once you hit over $100, then they're going to want to know if you have an account. But for just one strap, odds are the tellers will be pretty nice and they'll cooperate. Anyway, that's what I've got this week. Let's get this stuff out of the way. Let's take a look at what I found. And before we look, let me just remind you, this is still Vegas money. These came from the higher end places on the strip. This was from Mandalay Bay, Caesars Palace, Park MGM, Treasure Island, The Mirage, Cromwell, Bellagio, Venetian, Paris, and Palazzo. So these are the notes that I got from those places. Let's take a look at what I found. First up, I found an alternator, 06, 07, 02, 08. 0 is the alternator on that particular note. This one was just a high number, 95, 95. No, actually, it's not a high number. It is an alternator as well. 95, 95, 45, 35. You have 5 as the alternator on this bill. And this one is a birthday note. This would be 1939, August 19th. And this one would be another birthday, 1964, the 21st of November. Then we've got some trinaries. One away from a binary there, 2s, 4s, and 6s. Pretty good shape on that one. This one's really nice. 2s, 3s, and 5s on this one. And nope, not quite a radar. So close. That 2 screwed that up. Another trinary, 1s, 3s, and 9s on this one. Another one, 4s, 6s, and 8s. This one is 5, 6s, and 9s. 1s, 3s, and 7s. Really good shape. 1s, 6s, and 7s. And it's quads. Quad 1s. Yeah, it's not a trinary. It's got a 4 in there. But quad 1s on that one. Quad 1s on this one. Also really good shape. Quad 5s. And then we get to the stars. Now, before I go through all the stars, I just want to remind you guys, I don't believe that trinaries are worth anything. I don't believe that quads are worth anything. But I'm not going to save every $1 bill I come across hoping to find matching serial numbers. But by choosing to save trinaries and by choosing to save quads, I have greatly increased my odds of actually finding paired notes. Not to mention the fact that it's also a good savings account. I can spend those at will if I ever need the money, and since I don't, I can just let them sit there and see if I can't pair them up. All right, here are my star notes. 2017 star, another 2017 really good shape. Starting with a couple zeros, you guys know how I feel there. Whenever you see a couple zeros, you gotta have high hopes. Another 2017, really good shape. 2017, not quite as good. 2013, dog-eared corner, but a couple zeros, so we'll see what happens there. Another 2013. 2013B, that'll go into the good stack. We'll try to match that one up for $100,000 or whatever it is now. Another 2013 with a couple zeros. And the older notes, 2001, 1999 in pretty good shape. Another 1999, equally as well. Another 99, this one's showing signs of circulation. 1995, I'm not going to guess what that is. And the oldest note in the group, this one is a crisp 1985. So this one is in really good shape. Hopefully that's an upgrade in my book. So that's what I found this week. What did I pull out from my box? Well, when I was in Vegas, I mentioned that there was a show going on, so I figured I'd bring one of the notes that I got at that show. It's not one of the most impressive notes in the world, but it's a note that I picked up in Vegas at the show that I wasn't expecting, and it's a note that I didn't have. What did I pull out? This is a graded 1934C Federal Reserve note. So it's a small head $10 bill. Small head $10 bill from 1934, from 1934C actually. You can see right down there. Let it focus. Series of 34C. And it's in decent shape. It's been graded. Very fine 25. But the reason I picked this up is because it is a star note. Yes, a 1934C star note. And being graded, I was just kind of fascinated that I found one of these at the show. I wasn't really looking for anything in particular, and the guy had a whole tray of currency. You're going to find this a lot at shows. At shows, people tend to focus on coins, and they'll kind of disregard their paper money. So yeah, this was literally just in a pile, and finding a graded note in a pile, I had to find something cool, and I did. That's the star note there. Taking a look at the back, now of course being 1934, it does not say "In God We Trust" on the back, so it is a godless note. And let's take a quick peek at what the book has to say about a 1934C star note. And what do we got? Here we go. Where are we at? 1934D, 1934C. Mine is from Chicago. So 1934C right there. Its FR number is 2008, and being from Chicago, it's 2008G, and with a star. There was 105 million total notes printed. That's including the stars. The star note lists at $65 in a 20, and mine's a 25, so mine should be more than $65. At a 63, you're talking $375 for that particular star note. So yeah, they can get up there. I was perfectly fine getting a note that's graded higher than what the book has. The book, like I said, if I go to the very top of the book, you'll see they list VF20 and they list Choice 63 as the two grades right there. So yeah, to get a note higher than what the lowest grade was, that's a great starting point for me as far as trying to figure out the value. When you're buying notes, if they're raw, then you're kind of taking a chance as to whether the graders are going to have a good day or not. This one does have, I don't want to call it a heavy crease, but it does have a fold. That's a better way to put it. It's a lighter crease, if you know the difference between a crease and a fold. It's a light crease here and more of a fold the rest of the way through. It does have a little bit of staining over here, and if I flip it over on the back, there are no notes on it, so that's good. Yeah, so that's my 1934C Chicago star note. It's just neat looking at the serial number. Nothing fancy about the serial number, but I know that since it ends in 99, this was the second to the last note from the bottom of the strap when it was first produced. So I just find that neat, knowing that I can place the position of the star notes. So that's what I've got for you guys this week. 1934C $10 star note. If you learned anything new this week, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you leave a comment, I do my best on answering all of those. Thanks for watching. I'll just zoom in on this right there. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you again next week.